Hello, little dreamers. Welcome to tonight's bedtime story by Prorellis. Are you ready to settle down, get cozy, and let your imagination take you on a magical adventure? Tonight we're going to hear the story of a brave little boy named James, who embarks on an incredible journey with some very unusual friends. It's called James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl. Now let's get comfortable and let the story begin. Once upon a time, in a small house by the sea, there lived a little boy named James Henry Trotter. James wasn't like most children. He lived with two very grumpy aunts who were not kind to him. Their names were Aunt Sponge and Aunt Spiker, and they were as mean as can be. They made James do all the work around the house and never gave him any love or kindness. But James always dreamed of something wonderful happening, something magical that would change his life forever. Aunt Sponge and Aunt Spiker's house was a dreary and joyless place. Cobwebs hung heavy in the corners, and dust lay thick on the furniture. The air was always filled with the scent of stale cabbage and the sound of Aunt Sponge's booming voice and Aunt Spiker's sharp, grating tone. It was enough to make anyone feel gloomy. Every morning, James would wake up to the sound of Aunt Spiker's shrill voice calling him to his chores. There was always something to be done, something to clean, something to scrub. James often wished he could just disappear into the walls, just like the tiny spiders he sometimes saw scuttling across the dusty floorboards. James spent his days running errands, scrubbing floors and weeding the garden. Aunt Sponge and Aunt Spiker were never pleased, no matter how hard he worked. They found fault with everything he did, their voices sharp and critical, always ready to scold. They gave him scraps to eat while they feasted on delicious treats. They wouldn't let him play with other children or have any toys. To them, James was nothing more than a servant, someone to order around and mistreat. Despite his harsh reality, James's eyes, though filled with sadness, still held a glimmer of hope, a spark of resilience. But even in his darkest moments, James never completely lost hope. He held on to the belief that one day things would be different. He dreamed of a life filled with kindness, adventure, and maybe even a little bit of magic. At night, curled up on his lumpy mattress in the attic room, he would escape into a world of his own imagination. He would imagine faraway lands, talking animals, and fantastical adventures. These dreams gave him the strength to face another day. James longed for a different life, a life where he was loved and cherished. He wished for someone to care for him, someone to share adventures with. Little did he know, his wish was about to come true, in the most unexpected and magical way imaginable. But we'll talk about that more after a short break. Stay tuned, little dreamers, for the magical adventures are just about to begin. One afternoon, while James was trying to avoid his aunt's endless list of chores, he found himself wandering in the old, neglected garden. It was a secret world of overgrown bushes, tangled vines, and forgotten corners. A place where James often went to seek solace from the dreariness of his aunt's house. As he brushed away a cluster of dead leaves, he saw him. An old man, small and hunched over, sat nestled against the trunk of the rosebush. He had a long white beard that flowed down to his waist and kind eyes that twinkled with a mischievous light. Resting beside him was a small leather bag that seemed to pulsate with the same faint glow that had caught James's eye. The old man beckoned James closer. "Lost, are you?" he asked, his voice a low, melodic hum. James, usually shy and withdrawn, found himself inexplicably drawn to the old man's gentle demeanour. He hesitantly shook his head, unsure how to explain the depths of his sadness to this stranger. "These might help," the old man said, placing the crystals into James's outstretched hand. 10 little green things to bring you luck and change your stars." Before James could even utter a word of thanks, the old man vanished, disappearing into thin air as if he were never there. James didn't know what to make of the encounter. Were the crystals truly magical? Could they really change his luck? He decided to keep them, tucking them safely into his pocket for safekeeping. He had no pockets in his shorts, so he held them tightly in his hand instead. He searched and searched, but the crystals had vanished. Dejected, James trudged back towards the house, his shoulders slumped, his brief glimmer of hope extinguished. He didn't see the faint green glow emanating from the base of the old, withered peach tree at the edge of the garden. The next morning, James awoke to a strange sound. It was a low rumble, like thunder in the distance. He raced to the window, his curiosity piqued. What he saw made his jaw drop in astonishment. The peach continued to grow, faster and faster, until it dwarfed the house, its top disappearing into the clouds. James couldn't believe his eyes. Was this the magic of the green crystals? What other wonders awaited him? James was both terrified and mesmerized by the giant peach. He had never seen anything like it. It was as if the peach had sprung straight from the pages of his most fantastical dreams, a symbol of hope in his otherwise bleak existence. Drawn by an invisible force, James found himself at the base of the peach, where a gaping hole, like a giant's doorway, beckoned him closer. He hesitated for a moment, his heart pounding in his chest, but the lure of the unknown was too strong to resist. The air inside was thick and sweet, heavy with the scent of ripe peaches and something else, something indescribable, something magical. James felt a strange sense of peace wash over him, as if he had stepped into a world where anything was possible. He found himself standing on a floor made of what seemed like hardened peach juice, smooth and translucent. Above him, the ceiling glowed with an internal light, casting an ethereal glow on everything around him. It was like stepping into a giant, magical honeycomb. James wasn't alone. As he ventured deeper into the heart of the peach, he began to hear sounds, strange and wonderful sounds, unlike anything he had ever heard before. There were chirps and clicks, hums and buzzes, and a deep, resonant voice that seemed to reverberate through the very core of the peach. And then he saw them, gathered in a circle, their eyes wide with astonishment, were the most peculiar group of creatures James had ever laid eyes upon. They were giant insects, each one more extraordinary than the last. Section 4. Setting Sail. James had never met an insect, let alone giant talking ones, but there was something about their kind eyes and gentle demeanour that put him at ease. They welcomed him into their extraordinary world, eager to share their story and embark on a grand adventure. And so begins the incredible journey of James and the giant peach. Together they will soar above the clouds, face perilous storms, and discover the true meaning of friendship and adventure. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the land, the giant peach approached a sight that filled James with awe and wonder. A bustling city, its buildings reaching for the sky like giant fingers trying to touch the clouds. It was a city unlike any he had ever seen before, a place that seemed to pulse with life and energy. From their lofty perch atop the giant peach, the city looked like a miniature wonderland, its streets teeming with tiny cars that looked like colourful beetles scurrying below. The people, mere specks from this height, went about their business, oblivious to the extraordinary sight that sailed silently above them. As darkness fell and the city lights twinkled to life, the giant peach seemed to float among the stars, a magical vessel sailing through a sea of celestial wonders. The air was filled with the sounds of the city, a symphony of distant voices, rumbling traffic and music that drifted up to them like whispers on the wind. For James, who had spent his life confined to the dreary walls of his aunt's house, the sight of the city, alive with light and sound, was exhilarating. It was a glimpse into a world he had only dreamed of, a world of endless possibilities and adventures. As the giant peach drifted lazily over the city, James and his insect companions gathered in the center of their unusual craft, their laughter echoing through the hollow fruit. They shared stories of their past lives and dreams for the future. Old Green Grasshopper shared tales of his youth, while Ladybug talked excitedly about the beauty of the world. James, who had never known true friendship, found warmth and camaraderie with his companions, his heart filled with a joy he had never thought possible. As the night wore on and the city lights twinkled below like a sea of fallen stars, James and his companions lay back on the soft, yielding floor of the giant peach, gazing up at the vast expanse of the night sky. The peach, their magical vessel, seemed to disappear, leaving them adrift among the constellations. They talked about their hopes and dreams, their voices hushed with awe. For the first time in his life, James felt truly free, surrounded by friends who loved him. He knew, with a certainty that warmed him, that his life would never be the same again. As the first rays of dawn kissed the horizon, painting the sky with hues of pink and gold, the giant peach began its final descent. It glided effortlessly over the awakening city, its shadow passing over rooftops and parks, a silent, magical spectacle that heralded the start of a most extraordinary day. The giant peach, guided by an invisible hand, settled gently in the heart of a sprawling city park. It nestled amongst the trees, its velvety skin glowing softly in the morning light, a beacon of wonder in the midst of the familiar urban landscape. The city quickly noticed the extraordinary visitor in their midst. They flocked to the park, their disbelief turning to wonder at the giant peach. News crews arrived, eager to capture the magic. The most astonished were the children. For them, the giant peach was a dream come true. James and his insect companions were greeted with open arms and joy. The people of the city embraced James as one of their own. They recognized in him a kindred spirit, a boy whose heart was filled with kindness, whose spirit was as boundless as the sky he had traveled. The mayor, a man known for his generosity and compassion, declared James an honorary citizen, showering him with gifts and affection. The giant peach, once a refuge from a life of hardship, transformed into a symbol of hope and joy for the entire city. It became a place of gathering, a hub of laughter and shared stories, where people from all walks of life came together to celebrate the extraordinary adventure that had brought them all together. And so James, the boy who had once yearned for a life beyond the confines of his aunt's dreary house, found his heart's desire in the most unexpected of places. He discovered that true happiness lay not in material possessions or grand adventures, but in the love of true friends, the kindness of strangers, and the courage to embrace the magic that resides within us all. The giant peach, its journey complete, remained in the heart of the city, a testament to the power of imagination, the importance of kindness, and the enduring belief that even in the darkest of times, hope can blossom in the most unexpected of ways. And so, dear little dreamers, we come to the end of our magical journey with James and his extraordinary friends. Just like James, we can all find magic in the most unexpected of places, in the kindness we share, the friendships we cherish, and the dreams we dare to believe in. May your dreams tonight be filled with the wonder of the giant peach, the courage of a brave little boy, and the enduring belief that anything is possible if you open your heart to the magic that surrounds you. Sleep soundly, little ones, and may your dreams take you on adventures as extraordinary as those of James and his friends. Good night, and sweet dreams till the next bedtime story, friends.